What's going on, guys? It's Cimoooooooo. So today I'm bringing to you a video on the brand new archetype that just got announced for Rise of the Duelist, Märfae. Now, Märfae is objectively the cutest archetype ever released in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh's history. There is no other deck that even comes close, and even though Yu-Gi-Oh players are soulless heathens, they cannot even deny how cute this deck is. So this deck actually got announced yesterday, but I was out of town, so I didn't have the opportunity to make this video, and I really like going over these archetypes as soon as we get the news drop, just so we can see if there is any competitive viability there, and to also keep you guys in the loop. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. So the Märfae are a bunch of Earth level 2 monsters, beast type specifically. I'm about to also drop a lot of knowledge about raccoon based decks, which I probably shouldn't know, but there used to be a player at my locals who played raccoons all the time, so I know all these cards that synergize with this deck that I probably shouldn't, but could be some potential there, again, from the competitive angle. So starting off with Märfae Rabby, it is just a 0 attack 2100 level 2 Earth vanilla. Not really anything big here. I guess you could technically play Rescue Rabbit and this, so you can get 2 level 2s to make into a rank 2, but again, I don't know if that's really worth it. I guess for like an opening move, that's okay, but I think something like Rescue Cat's probably just better in the long run, because then you don't have to play vanillas. Who knows, but there is a little bit of synergy there. Now we're going to get into the effect monsters. So all of these monsters have 2 effects, and they're all the same. At least the first effect has like a condition that's the same across all of them, and then the second effect is also the same for all of them as well. So Märfae Fenny is a Earth level 2 100 attack 300 defense. You can only use each effect of this card's name once per turn. So the first effect, if your opponent normal or special summons a monster, or if this card is targeted for an attack by an opponent's monster, and you can return this card to the hand, comma, and then all the other effect monsters on here do something different. So they all have that first part, and then when they bounce back to the hand, and then it'll have something else that happens. So in the case of Fenny, you can return this card to the hand, then you can special summon 1 beast monster from your hand, except Fenny. So note here that it's any beast. It doesn't have to be a Märfae monster, so that's pretty good because it gives you some synergy outside of the archetype specifically. You might be wondering, like, some cards like that you might want to play to special summon off of this. Well, one of the big ones is Cutest, the mystical beast of the forest. It is essentially a level 2 Earth beast that if it's normal or special summoned, or I'm not sure, it might be if it's special summoned by a beast or like by some sort of effect, you can target a card on the field and destroy it. So it's effectively removal if you play that Cutest, which you probably would. There's also one later that's special summoned from deck, so that could be pretty cool too. But just some potential synergy there. The second effect reads, during your end phase, you can special summon this card from your hand. So this is like their interesting gimmick, because essentially, if you have like 5 of these in your hand, you can summon all of them to the field during your end phase, and then during your opponent's turn, while they're doing things, they can bounce to your hand and trigger their respective effects. So keep in mind, both effects across all the effect monsters are the same, except for on the first effect, they just do something different when they're bounced back to the hand. Next up is Märfae Cathy. So again, they're all Earth level 2, 200 attack, 200 defense. If it's normal or special, or excuse me, if your opponent normal or special summons, or if it's targeted by an attack from your opponent's monster, return it to the hand. Then you can add 1 beast monster from your deck to your hand, except another copy of Cathy. Again, note that it isn't archetype specific, so you can add any beast to your hand, so that's pretty cool. And then during your end phase, you can special summon this card from your hand. So the searcher for the deck, essentially, that's pretty neat because you can grab stuff like Rescue Cat, so just that way on the following turn you have a power play. And let's go ahead and get into the next one, which is Märfae Puppy. So Puppy, again, level 2 Earth, 300 attack, 100 defense. If your opponent normal or special summons a monster, or if it's targeted by an attack, you can return it to the hand. Then you can special summon 1 level 2 or lower beast monster from your deck, except Puppy. So again, like I said, Cutest can be special summoned off of this, and that way you actually have a form of interaction during your opponent's turn to pop a card on their field. And then again, during the end phase of this turn, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then we have Märfae Pony, level 2 Earth, 400 attack, 0 defense. You can only use each effect once per turn. When your opponent no more special summons, or if it's targeted for an attack, return it to your hand. Then you can add a level 2 or lower beast monster from your graveyard to your hand. So it's not a searcher, but it just helps give you some recursion, getting any of your other Märfaes back to your hand, or any of the other level 2 beasts that you're playing, because you're going to be playing a lot of them if you're going to be playing a deck like this. And then during your end phase, you can special summon this card from your hand. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and get into the Xyz, and this is where things start to get a little bit interesting. So first up, we have Märfae of the Forest. So it's kind of cool. It's like all of them all together. It's a rank 2, 500 attack, 2000 defense. Requires 2 level 2, so it's generic, which is nice. You can only use each effect once per turn. You can detach 1 material from this card, add 1 Märfae card from your deck to your hand. So seems pretty good. It's a searcher, so if you did do like the Rescue Rabbit into the 2 level 2s, or if you just have other ways to get multiple level 2s onto the field, which a card like Obedience Schooled can help with. This is like one of the big payoffs of playing a deck like this. Obedience Schooled special summons 3 beasts to your field instantly, so that's pretty good. But the fact it's a searcher is pretty nice. We'll talk about that a little bit later on why that matters. Second effect, if another face-up Märfae monster you control is returned to your hand, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. While that monster is face-up on the field, it cannot attack. Also, its effects are negated. So essentially, if you have this and any other Märfae, then when a Märfae gets bounced back, which it most likely will if your opponent just summons at all or attacks, then you're going to be able to force it so that that monster cannot attack or activate its effects. And I think the problem here is that for trigger effects, so let's say something triggers on summon, I don't think you'll be able to negate that because of the way that the chains would work, but if it's an ignition effect, for instance, then this would be pretty good. So that's it for the Märfae of the Forest. Then we have Märfae Mommy. Do with that what you will. So Märfae Mommy is a rank 2 Earth Beast, 1000 attack and defense. Requires 2 or more level 2 beast monsters. Once per turn, as a quick effect, you can attach 1 beast monster from your hand or field to this as material. This card gains effects based on the number of materials that are attached to it. If you have 3 or more, it cannot be destroyed by battle. 4 or more, you take no battle damage from battles involving this card. And 5 or more, when an attack is declared involving this card and another attack position monster, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to that attack position monster's attack. So, I mean, it's okay. I don't think like this is like your win condition, although some people think that like might be the way to go. I don't think so, because it's such a heavy investment to do this. It's not like unrealistic to just swarm the board with these level 2s, but I don't think this is like the correct way you go about building this deck whatsoever. I mean, you might play this card, but like it's fine. It's not like really that important. It gets a little bit more important later on when we talk about a different card. But let's go ahead and move on to the spells and traps. So the first spell is Märfae Tag. So it's a quick play spell. You can only activate it once per turn. Target a Märfae monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So nice and easy. It's just a quick play monstery board. That's cool because if it's your opponent's turn, you can bring back something and then trigger it when they summon or attack. So that way you're going to get some advantage off of your Märfae. So that seems okay. Next is the continuous spell, Märfae Hide and Seek. It's just so cute. So you can only activate the second effect once per turn. Each turn, the first time each beast monster you control will be destroyed by a card effect, it is not destroyed. And the second effect, target 3 beast monsters with a different name in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, then draw 1 card. So a mini Pot of Avarice sort of effect. I guess it's more like Disciples of the True Dracos, but it's fine. It's recyclability. These cards are probably going to be going to the graveyard pretty often, and it just allows you to just kind of generate those resources and get some card advantage in addition to that. Then finally, we have Märfae Time. So this is the trap card of the deck. Normal trap. Detach any number of materials from beast Xyz monsters you control, then target up to that many cards your opponent controls. Return them to the hand. Also, all beast Xyz monsters you control gain 500 attack for each material detached to activate this card until the end of the turn. So this is like an in-archetype compulsory evacuation device if you think about it, and that's actually pretty powerful. So one just very basic way you could go about playing this deck is that if you get 2 level 2s onto the field, you can just go ahead and make this one right here, Märfae of the Forest, detach 1 material to add the trap to your hand, set the trap, and then if you just have, let's say, any of the Märfaes in your hand when you go to end phase, you special summon it to the field. You already have 2 layers of disruption right there, right? Because if that Märfae goes to your hand, which it most likely will, it'll trigger Märfae of the Forest and makes it so that it'll negate the effects of one of the monsters your opponent controls and makes it so that it cannot attack. You also have, depending on what Märfae it is, have a potential third disruption, because let's say, for instance, you're going to have Puppy. Puppy that's the one that's bounced back, can special summon a level 2 or lower beast. You get the Calentosa from your deck, so that can actually destroy the card that you just negated potentially, or destroy another card in the process. Then you have Märfae Time as a way to compulse a monster back to your opponent's hand as well, because you can detach the final Xyz material from Märfaes of the Forest using this effect, and that way, it's not even monsters, it's cards actually. So let's say like you did it on their normal summon and they set a card and pass, you can detach, bounce the set card to their hand, and now you have free range to do whatever you want. I think the bad part about this is it's kind of like a way to get a lot more damage in, because these cards are very weak, and this card bestows all the monsters with an additional 500 attack for each material detached, so like that's a way for you to get more damage in, but you're most likely going to be using this as a way to clear their board during their turn. I guess you could use it on your turn as well, so that way you can get the attack boost, but I think it's much more better as an interruption during your opponent's turn. It's a bit iffy, but there are some other cards that definitely synergize with this archetype. We have cards, like I already mentioned, like Rescue Cat, different things like that. We have Sendeu, the rank 2 from the Raccoon deck, that actually can generate tokens that are of the highest attack monster on the field, and again, this is a rank 2 focused deck. So when we're in Master Rule 5 specifically, being able to spam those out onto the board shouldn't be too difficult. We also have a Valerie Fawn, another mystical beast of the forest. This essentially allows you to discard a card and special summon a level 2 beast from your graveyard, so that's pretty cool. We also have some interesting win conditions if we're going the beast route, such as Naturia Beast. Now, this probably would have been better in like Sky Striker format because there were spells like everywhere, but being able to make Naturia Beast is one of Beast's like most just easy to enable combos, because you're playing cards like Rescue Cat and so on, and being able to just churn out something like Naturia Beast turn 1 seems pretty good. And then there's also another card, an older card that some people may not be familiar with, the Fabled Unicorn. The Fabled Unicorn basically negates all other effects of cards and destroys them if you and your opponent have the same number of cards in hand. And what's interesting about this deck in particular is that you can actually kind of control the amount of cards in your hand, since the Märfaes allow you to add or in some cases subtract the cards that are in your hand to make sure that you're always level with your opponent, and that could be a pretty viable stun tool. Now, do I think this deck is going to be tier 1? Absolutely not. I definitely think that this deck needs like a lot more for it to be good. This is definitely more of a casual based deck, but that doesn't mean there aren't specific options, right? Like I said, Nat Beast and Fabled Unicorn are absolute blowouts. You get to play really cool cards like Obedience Schooled. Ayers Rock Sunrise is another one. It's an in-archetype, or not in-archetype, but a beast-specific monster reborn that also reduces the attacks of your opponent's monsters, so you get to play 3 of that. I mean, there's some potential in terms of what cards you have available to play in a deck like this, but I don't really think it's going to be doing anything on the competitive circuit anytime soon. I will say, though, I think this deck is better than how it seems, just simply due to once you start to dive in a little bit deeper, but it has a long way to go for sure. So, guys, that's going to go ahead and do it. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about the Märfae archetype. I'd really love to hear your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Be sure to like the video as always. Subscribe to the channel for more amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content, and if you found this video helpful, consider supporting me on Patreon or becoming a YouTube channel member. Just by showing your support in any way that you can, you're investing in my ability to continue bringing you amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content. So thanks so much again, and we'll see you next time.